My haiku. From bottom to top, moving towards excellence, my day will soon come. My spoken word poem is entitled, What Will Become of Me? I was told there would be days like these, wondering what my story will be. So I asked myself, what will become of me? As a child, I was always aspired to be more than the average. My parents told me I had to be better than they were. We came from a third world country to this first world country, mainly for me to have a life they couldn't. Even in this first world country, there are still third world issues I face. What will become of me? It is not enough to be among the average. I must strive to be above the rest. I must ace this test. I have 3 strikes against me. I am black, I'm an immigrant, I'm a woman. What will become of me? Education is my only way out of poverty. Education is my only access. Education is my only route on this journey. Education is my only option. So, what will become of me? High school was a bit of an eye-opener. I became aware of my differences. I was different from those who had parents who went to college. I was different from those who could afford to do as they please. Unlike me, who had to keep a job to assist the household. I was different from those who already knew what they would become. I was different from my family members because more was always expected of me. I was different from those who just had to think about themselves. I carry my family on my shoulders. My success is their success. My accomplishments are a sign that they did a good job. So I ask myself, what will become of me? I've conquered the first battle and made it to college. I will win the next battle when I graduate. I will break down the barriers of inferiority complex. I will continue the job of those who came before me. I will become a legislator, breaking down the barriers of those who come after. That's what will become of me. My educational autobiography is entitled, My Journey from a Dull Yesterday to a Bright Tomorrow. Education has always been an important aspect of my life. Since birth, my parents always stressed the importance of it. A good education could prove what I was truly capable of. It would open doors for me. Education meant access. No matter what my family's financial situation was, they always made sure I had access to all materials I needed for school. Living in a third world country, access to education was only made available to those who could afford it. Unlike the United States of America, a first world country my family moved to when I was 12, taxes never went to education. Everyone who went to school was only there because their family could afford it. The higher one went up the educational ladder, the more expensive it became. This was one of the reasons my parents made the decision to move to the United States. There, my educational journey continued. When I first migrated to the United States from Jamaica, I felt out of place. My family moved to Miami. I was enrolled in a school that was dominated by Caucasians and Hispanics. My accent stood out and I unsuccessfully tried to fit in. I stayed at Hammocks Middle School for only 2 months before my family moved to Fort Lauderdale. In Fort Lauderdale, I felt normal. I did not need to change anything about myself to fit in because Fort Lauderdale had a lot of immigrants from the Caribbean. I met quite a few people who came from Jamaica. We would share experiences, and to my surprise, several only lived only a few miles away from me. Surrounded by people I could culturally identify with made me feel at home, away from home. When I enrolled in Lauderdale Middle School, my dad made sure to remind me of my purpose. It was to do the best I could and make use of the opportunity he never got. With that in mind, I made sure I made the honor roll every quarter. Several times I made the principal's honor roll. I was proud of myself. My dad always struggled with showing his emotions, but when it came to my academics, it always made me feel good about myself when he would brag to his friends about how well I was doing in school. When he spoke to me, he would tell me that getting good grades in school was my responsibility. One day I made a mistake of telling him about the guy in my class whose parents paid him $50 for every A he got. Of course, Calvin was never the straight-A student, but whenever he got an A, everyone would know about it. When I told my dad about Calvin, he assumed I was asking for the same treatment. He reminded me that I was in America, but I was still Jamaican. I was always reminded not to become too Americanized. I work towards achieving my goals every day. Education is the only possible route for me to accomplish my goals of surpassing the average and becoming a legislator. I chose this career because I feel this is the way I can truly make a difference. The job of a legislator is important because legislators make the laws of the land. Legislators are in charge of making decisions for society. As a legislator, I hope to make laws that will create a more equal and just society. I value equality, justice, service, and to some extent, financial success. Carl Moseley Braun, the first African American woman U.S. Senator, is one of my role models. Braun joined the Senate in 1993. When I learned about her, I was in the 9th grade. I figured if she could make it, I could too. Being a minority makes my educational journey more difficult. My parents never stopped to reiterate this fact. I was always to make sure that I could keep up with my white counterparts. This came especially from my dad, who was being exploited at his workplace but said nothing because the job paid the bills. My experiences thus far are the reasons I seek higher education. College was not an option. I needed to go to college in order to achieve my goals. I was always reminded that African American women have the added dimension of racism to deal with. I'm always being reminded of my difference in my identity and my lack of privilege, whether it be class, race, or gender. I call the aforementioned my 3 strikes. This is not an excuse for failure. Instead, my 3 strikes serves as a motivation to accomplish my goals.